Hi everyone, welcome back to Comic Book Corner. I'm Dan Delatorre. Thanks for joining us this evening. I take requests on this show, and one of you had asked me to bring up the subject of slabbing versus raw comics. And I'm here to please, and this has now become an age-old question, or conversation rather, as slabbing has been in existence for over a quarter century. And now credit CGC for a brilliant idea. When I was a child, you know, collecting Silver Age, or in my teens and 20s, I knew that the comics wouldn't last forever, and I thought there's got to be a better way than what they were providing. They just had some polyethylene bags, and they had some mylar, really thick, but the sharp edges and all that. But the mylar was pretty good. But I thought that it was something better. Well, CGC did come up with a very brilliant idea to encapsulate the slab, grade it, and it was really, really well done. Like anything, it started out kind of slow. If you've seen those first generation slabs, they're a little clumsy, but they got better and better and better. But back to the question here. I suppose the question is asked, is which one better? First of all, there are three options that you have here. You've got, and I've got this right here, and I've shown this before. You've got your slab copy here. This is a CGC 7.5. Beautiful copy, by the way. Iron Man number 25. And I just picked this up here. And the raw copy just came in just a few days ago. I just read it. So this is Iron Man 25 in a Mylar. So your options are your slab, Mylar, or the polypropylene, I think it is. They're very inexpensive. You can get 100 for not that much. Or maybe 5 for a penny or whatever. These, and I've said before, and somebody said, I said they're about $1 each when you buy the Mylar. The Mylar is super durable. It's just short of the slab itself. Easily interchangeable, will last forever. And for $1, I don't have a problem for protecting this with the best possible protection with $1. Always use the blue painter's tape on the back. Even with the blue painter's tape on the back, by the way, be very careful taking it off. Put it somewhere else. Don't leave it on the sleeve when you open this up. I've seen too many disasters. Just trust me, tape is your friend and your enemy at the same time. So let's go back to this discussion here. Slab copies are gorgeous. I mean, they present really well, especially a high grade like this one in a white pager. But so does the Mylar. They're very comparable to each other. The obvious difference is you can't open this up. You can't read this as I just did. So there's how do you put this? There's a couple ways to look at this. If you want to preserve a comic, this will last decades, many, many decades. This will last decades as well, but you can also open it up and read that. There's nothing like holding a comic in your hand and reading it, and then getting. I'm one of those people that loves the aroma of Marvel Silver Age comics. They're wonderful. But holding the actual comic in your hand, reading it, you got to be careful. Yeah, and by the way, when you open the book, don't open from the middle. This is the weakest part of the comic right here. Open from the top or the bottom, which is a more stronger part. That's why these start to tear in the middle here, because people pull them at the wrong side. So you can carefully read them, and you enjoy things you can't enjoy from this, not just the story, but the letters to the editor, the artwork that's on the inside here, even little goofy little commercials that they had or advertisements that they had can be had with a raw copy. The answer is there is no answer. There's no right or wrong answer. It depends on what you want. And again, I'm a fan of getting both. Just because I want to preserve each of these as long as possible, but I also want to enjoy the storyline for the comic. And again, all the aspects of holding the comic in your hand. I'm not going to go any further than that. You guys make up your mind regarding what do you want to do. It depends on if you're going to buy, sell, whatever. And I don't want to get into all that stuff because I don't sell anything. I'm simply a consumer and show you ways to buy. By the way, this is a great story. One thing I learned, I said mistakenly that this was Lucifer's second appearance. I believe it's his third appearance. I wouldn't have known that had I not been able to read this comic. He appears, I think his second appearance was X-Men. Well, his first appearance was X-Men 9, what you do have. And I need to reread that. Lucifer is a pretty badass character. He shows up at X-Men 21, which I think I have somewhere. I want to read that as well. God, again, Marvel Silver Age has so many great villains. They have a wealth of ideas and all that, but the MCU just hasn't taken advantage of it. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on slabbing versus raw and all that. Make up your own mind. just depends on what you want. So anyway, let's get into the pile here that we have. Let's start with another slab. I had talked about DC at the last episode, and I did find this finally. I don't know why. It was probably staring right in front of me. And this is DC Presents number 26. I had said, and I still say, that this is akin to Giant Size X-Men 1. First appearance of the new Teen Titans. Now, the Teen Titans had been in existence since the Silver Age, like the X-Men. The X-Men started in 1963. But they started a new a team with this one. And you get a first appearance with this. I don't have many first appearances from DC characters. First appearance of, who is this? Raven, Cyborg, and Starfire. And again, the animated series was fantastic. Not the what was it, Teen Titans Go? That was cutesy. No, the animated series was fabulous. And if they can somehow reproduce that, because everyone loves these characters here, again, DC could have a hit on their hands. They're worse than Marvel. They don't know what to do with the talent that they have, right in front of them. So anyway, but this I'll have to admit, I badly overpaid for this comic. I thought this was going to move because there were rumblings that they may start something with the Teen Titans. It went nowhere. I lost hundreds of dollars. So it's, again, you win some, you lose some, but I still made the raw copy for this, by the way, for the same reason that I just showed for the Iron Man 20. I want to read this story just to have it in your hands, but that's one all of you should be considering, because again, who knows, and it's going to be many years before the DCU gets off the ground or gets back on the right track. Who knows with these guys? Only time will tell. And I'm not rooting against them. Please, I'm not rooting against DC. I'm a DC fan. They've got so much to offer. They just don't know what to do with it. Speaking of not knowing what to do with things, the Eternals movie, when it came out, there's no polite way to say it. It was a disaster. It was a disaster because they went completely away from the original concept, which was created by Jack Kirby. Come on, Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby, you know about his historical art. He's by far one of the best artists ever. But he has a lot of creative input with godlike characters, Galactus, and then he went to do New Gods when he went to DC and the Forever People. And then he came back to Marvel and he created the Eternals. And I have Eternals 1, I'll talk about that another day, but another one that is really under the radar, speaking of godlike powerful characters for an extremely reasonable price, Eternals number 2. Eternals number 2, this is the first appearance of the Celestials. These are godlike powers of beings that some say are more powerful than Galactus. And it's completely underrated. So again, I don't care about what they do with the movies, if they ever do anything at all. We don't know. But Eternals number 2, something to keep an eye on. And by the way, I'm trying to modify my microphone because of the little clicking I make with my as I speak. I tried the earbud thing. The problem with that is that the microphone's right next to your mouth, so you can hear everything. So I've got my microphone set up, and I hope this works. But I have to remember I can't speak when something's in front of me because it blocks the sound. So anyway, I'm doing the best I can, guys. I listen to all your comments, by the way. Speaking of which, I already gave away the next book here, and that is Amazing Spider-Man number 328. When Spider-Man has the power of, Captain Universe. He has Captain Universe's power, makes the most of it. He hates the power, by the way, and just hands the Hulk his lunch with this one. Now, this is a Todd McFarlane Gray Hulk. Gorgeous artwork, good storyline here. This will cost you about $30 at least to get this. Worth having in your collection. I have several copies of this because I bought them off the rack. But another great book for your consideration. This was definitely a cover buy, but there's background behind this here. And again, speaking of godlike powers, Galactus is by far my favorite. He probably always will be my favorite superpowered character. I mean, nobody beats him. His powers are unbelievable, ununderstood because his technology is way above anything that Reed Richards made or Tony Stark has made. And this is a gorgeous, gorgeous cover. And this is Marvel Saga number 24. Look at that cover right there. Look, that's an absolute gorgeous Galactus here. This is his origin story. So again, this is not very expensive, maybe $10 for a decent copy here. And just for the cover alone, worth having in your collection. Actually, worth having Slab, by the way. God, this is so pretty. I love Galactus. This is Bob Layton. I didn't realize this. Yeah, Bob Layton artwork. Yeah, that's very, very cool. A guy I'm going to see. I'm very excited. I'm going to GalaxyCon in San Jose on Saturday. So if you're there Saturday, let me know. I'd be happy to meet with you. You can go hunting with me and all the rest of it. But I'll be there probably mid to late morning, and I want to see a couple of people here. We'll talk about this subject probably next week, and that's signatures. And this is a Marv Wolfman story I got for $2. I was hunting with my oldest daughter, and we got this for $2. And it's The Adventures of Superman number 424. And this is a first appearance of Lois Lane's father. I forget his first name, obviously Mr. Lane. But yeah, this became a minor key. But I want to get this autographed by Marv Wolfman and a few others. I've got to dig through my collection to see what Marv Wolfman has. Marv Wolfman is a great, great old writer, and again, one of the pillars. Definitely one of the pillars. So I've never met him, and I want to get this autograph, maybe have a conversation with him. So we'll see how that all works out. Speaking of artists who I've never met, John Byrne. I do have this one here, and it's an iconic cover for obvious reasons once you see it. This is Spectacular Spider-Man number 101, the black and white cover. Just a gorgeous cover. It really, really is. So I got this one for 65 cents. All these things are off the rack. It pays to be an older collector because when you're old, you're there before everyone else is, and you get to pick things like this up and then wait for it to blossom. But yeah, this will cost you a few bucks to get this one here if you want it. And when you're buying, by the way, I didn't buy my collection overnight. This is 50 years plus of buying. And after a while, it's like building a building. One brick at a time, one stone at a time, however you want to describe it. And as time goes on, the wall begins to build higher, and you see structure, and you see the makings of a building or whatever. It's no different here. No different here. I just bought a couple, which I hopefully will show in the next episode. I had $100 in my piggy bank, and I bought accordingly. Bought 3 comics, 2 of the same book. I'll tell you why later. But yeah, I'm still buying. I'm hoping to find some deals there at the GalaxyCon. But again, take your time on these. Take your time on these. It took me a long, long time. Someone else also asked, and I'm not going to do this now. This is his second appearance. Someone had wanted to show me or make a profile of one of my favorite villains of all. That's the Absorbing Man. Here it is. This is a lower grade. Journey to Mystery number 115. And the Absorbing Man, what a fascinating concept that he is granted powers from Asgardian, from Loki. And he has the power to absorb anything. Fire, stone, the air itself, whatever he can touch. And he's a villain, obviously, which he has his, what do you call that, the ball and chain that he takes around, which also has powers, by the way. So again, these early Journey to Mystery books, not all that expensive. You buy them at a lot. Like I said, you can get a bunch of low grades just to get the storyline and all the rest of it. Higher grades are at least $35, $40 or more. Slab, of course, you're putting more money here, but this is classic Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby at his best here with the Journey into Mystery. A hot topic for the longest time was Kang the Conqueror. But ever since Jonathan Majors had that unfortunate incident with his girlfriend, they had a scuffling match and all that. And it bothers me to this day because they went to court. It was a stupid thing, and he was convicted of a misdemeanor. If you've ever had a misdemeanor, it's a minor charge, not like a felon. Felony, like you break in somebody's house and all that, that's a felony. They didn't do that. I've never heard of someone's career, whether locally, privately, or professionally, being ended by a misdemeanor. And my personal opinion of that was that I think this had Kathleen Kennedy's fingers all over it. She was still in charge at Disney. That's my 2 cents. But Jonathan Majors should still be Kang to this day. It's a tragedy. It just is. And maybe he'll come back at some point. Maybe he won't. But that storyline is still, those Kang issues were hot across the board. Now people have forgotten about them. So the opportunity for you is to get your hands on really inexpensive. This is a late bronze, early copper age Avengers number 257. And good storyline, really good storyline. In fact, there are several of them. I'll bring a few out maybe in the next episode or two, but you can get these for next to nothing. And again, the Kang storyline is yours for the taking, because again, the character has been moved out. Because remember, we were supposed to have, instead of the Doomsday movie line from Avengers, was supposed to be Kang. What was it? What was the title they had? Oh, the Kang Dynasty. That's what it was going to be. Now, all that is just to the wayside. And again, if you want to get these books, great time to get them. Because again, I like the Kang storylines. If you watch the Loki show, it was fascinating. I was absolutely fascinated by the way that Jonathan Majors had laid out how Kang came into being, an infinite number of himself. And he's the problem. The solution is, and it's not possible, you have to kill all the Kangs everywhere. That's not really possible. So you have to... What Loki was giving... what Kang was offering Loki and who's this girlfriend? Is it the female Loki? They were giving him not just the throne to the multiverse. He was giving him a job. That's why Loki didn't want it. That's why Sylvie wanted. She still had anger in her heart for what happened to her, but Loki had recognized it's a job that doesn't end, and Loki was smart enough to say, "I don't want this." And so, but Kang, who has been exhausted, who knows how many centuries old he was, he just wanted out of it. So it was a really interesting and fascinating story. So I hope they do that justice in the upcoming Avengers movie. Speaking of Avengers, the Vision Quest looks fascinating. Looks like a great show that'll show up on Disney Plus. So this, and I forgot to look up to what the storyline was. I haven't read this in a long, long time. And it's Ultimate Vision. What was it? Avengers number 254. Really inexpensive, a couple bucks. I got a couple of them here. But Vision stories may start popping up at some point because, again, I love the actor, and I forget his name, but I think they're doing a fabulous job with the Vision. And if you can get his first appearance in Avengers 57, which I have, you might want to wait a while because that's probably spiked for the same reason. Everyone knows I'm a Hulk fan, and I don't think I've showed this. I showed the other one. Yeah, it was red cover with Umba, but this was this is a gorgeous cover here. This is Herb Trimpe and John Severin combined forces for the early years of the Hulk series. After that, it was Marie Severin who did some of the gorgeous art a few issues prior. But look at the cover on this one, Hulk 109. Look at that. This is when Kazar would kind of fit in the Silver Age. Now, today, I don't know what you'd do with such a character. He's very much a throwback. I mean, this is the offshoot of Tarzan, right? Tarzan was a big deal in the 40s and 50s. Was that Edgar Rice Burroughs? I think it was Edgar Rice Burroughs who created Tarzan. Well, of course, they wanted to have their own Kazar, the caveman, or the jungle man, that kind of thing. But his saber-tooth Sambu. And again, these are just gorgeous classics here. Not that expensive. About $30 for a decent copy, maybe more if you want. Going down the pile here, Doctor Strange, as I've said before, I bet you they're going to cancel that movie. What a shame, because Benedict Cumberbatch is the perfect Doctor Strange. And this is when he... I also recommend you getting issue 9, but this is when he becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. And that's Marvel Premiere number 10. It's a really nice copy. Issue 9 I have is a gorgeous copy. It feels like it's brand new. Super glossy cover and all that. But this is a turning point in Doctor Strange's life. I showed another one. Maybe I did or did not. Where he goes against Loki without being Sorcerer Supreme. Loki just mops the floor with him. He doesn't have the kind of power he has here. When he gains the power of the Ancient One and becomes a Sorcerer Supreme, he becomes, and this is one thing Marvel has done correctly. Doctor Strange is by far the most powerful being in Marvel because of what he can do. I mean, he went through, 14 million possibilities before he found the one, and that's how he described it. One possibility to deal with Thanos. And only the mind and power of Doctor Strange could do that here. Underrated character. You can find these $20, a little bit more if you look. Always look very carefully at the images. And you can always ask, by the way, if you're buying on eBay, you can always ask the seller to send more pictures that are a little more clear. Because sometimes pictures really aren't that clear. Now this one might be a little more expensive because Doctor Doom is on the cover here, but still worth your time and effort. $30 issue. Thor number 183. Get 182 as well. I don't know if I showed that as well, where they square off against each other. Thor is trying to stop a missile from Doom launching it from Latveria. Doom's always up to something. He's always up to something. So these are fun stories here. We'll see what the Rodney. What was it? Oh shoot. I'm drawing a blank on Tony Stark's character. The Robert Downey Jr. People would be very unhappy if I didn't remember Robert Downey Jr. This is going to be one of his most challenging roles because we know him as Iron Man. Can he pull it off as a different character? I don't know. As talented as he is, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this all works. I'm not wishing him ill will, but that's a tough role. Should they have done this? No. No, they should have revised Tony Stark in one form or another. And got another Doctor Doom, kind of with the sound of the animated from what was it, the mid 1990s. That was a great Doctor Doom in that animated show. That's what I would have loved. X-Men is still popular, but if you find this one, I'd grab it because I love the Spider-Man cartoons. Remember Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends? This is first appearance in continuity of Firestar. And I love that they kept her in the yellow original costume, not, jazzed her up a little bit, because that's what I remember her from the comics. This isn't all that expensive, maybe $20, but still worth getting grabbing your attention here. A couple more, then we will end it. I showed you this already. I showed you the Slab copy, but I found the raw copy. And a reminder that, who is it? The leader, the lethal leader, is kind of out of comics and he's not really going anywhere, even though the actor did a fine job, as I said. But Tales of Sonus number 63, his first full appearance. I've got two pretty ones. This should have been slabbed at DGS. I bet you would have got a similar rate. I had a 6.5. I don't know. 5. It could be a 6, but it's pretty. But again, here's the advantage of I've got a graded copy and a raw copy. I can read this, open it up carefully, and of course read and enjoy this story. So maybe it wasn't such a bad idea to not get this slabbed, because again, I still love holding the actual comic and reading every aspect of it. It's just a joy. I'm a slow reader, by the way. I like to soak it in and not just speed through these things. And there's far more dialogue. The big difference between, somebody asked me a while ago, new comics and old comics. New comics, sort of like New Hollywood, relies on special effects and all that. Not much dialogue. These were not just special effects because of the classic art, but the dialogue. And it's intelligent dialogue. Stan Lee, and there were others, who wrote these stories. These were intelligent stories. They weren't childlike stories. And they grabbed your attention. The problem I have with modern stuff, and shout out to 22 Cent Comics. We talked about the new comics and the new Absolute Batman. It's getting really gory and I would have stopped reading had I not, like with the Joker, who's like this big lizard guy. No, he's kind of lost me. I hope that they modernize that, but that's what the new kids want. You younger viewers, if you enjoy that, that's fine. I'm not going to knock your entertain it, but this is more down to earth. This is more, I don't know. I probably sound like an old guy. I probably sound like your, what is it? I probably sound like your dad telling you not listen to music. So, hold on a second here. Sorry, I hope the video didn't interrupt here. My apologies if it did. If the video interrupted, blame Dale. Blame my brother Dale, who dared call me as I'm making this tape. Dale, you're famous now for screwing this whole thing up. If you did, I bet you did. I'm going to watch. I always watch the tape afterwards before I produce it, obviously, or publish it, by the way. So, my brother Dale, Jesus Christ. Could have been worse. Could have been Ray. Oh, God. My family, because I love my family, but we're a bunch of goofballs. We just are. All right, Dale, as I told you, talk to my secretary. You called in unscheduled. So anyway, enough about Dale. Once we get all this hate email about, leave your brother alone, that kind of thing. Anyway, Speaking of hate, this character here started out as a badass, ruthless character, and over the years he became a joke, and he wasn't designed to be a joke. His name is I believe it's machine only designed for killing or something along those lines, and its first appearance of Modok. Modok was a badass. This gigantic mind, this gigantic head, who's designed to think and kill, and he was extremely methodical and thought of as very. I mean, he was treated as such, treated like he was again a ruthless supervillain. And he started out great. This is the Tales of Suspense number 94, $50 issue or so. But again, because they even in the animated series in the 1990s with the Mandarin, they made him as this joke, and I'm like, no, you guys are just screwing this whole thing up. Pardon me. But anyway, this is why I love the Silver Age, because what they meant was here in the book here. It was here in the book. So this is his origin here. There are several great stories about Modok, and then again, when you have writers that just can't take them seriously or don't know what to do with them, you should probably go do something else. Anyway, I don't want to end on a bad note. I'm blaming Dale. Dale has thrown me off. That phone call really threw me off, so I'm going to call him up and give him a piece of my mind, as the old saying goes. Anyway, guys, that's what I have for today. Slab versus Raw. Again, you can't go wrong. It's up to you. But protect them no matter what. At the very minimum, you've got the BCW, these things here. These are the polyethylene. And I don't know if you can see this. BCW, and I don't get paid by BCW. I just buy them because they have good products. They have a little imprint here for, quality, I suppose. But I thought that was cool that they put that on there. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. I will talk to you. I'll probably produce another video before I go to GalaxyCon. And if you want to meet me there, please just reach out to me, and I'll, through Instagram, and we can make arrangements and go for there. Anyway, everyone, thanks for joining for the SBW. And yes, I did remember this time. The Silver, Bronze, and Copper Age Network. I'm Dan De La Torre, and this is Comic Book Corner.